ahead and put the other side in. Start to come together now to look like a helicopter. This is a very nice bird here. Considering that he has suffered a lot of crashes from me, and I have spent quite a bit of money rebuilding. The parts are not that expensive really, beside the part, at least the parts that seems to be breaking doesn't seems to be the expensive parts. The tail boom is about $5, and I've had to replace that at least a couple of times. What else have I broken on this? Is a lot of times I end up breaking up in a crash. I've broken up these control arm linkage that connects the servos to this link. So here we have it. We have this straightened out. It looks like they're pretty much the same length. We'll put the screws in. I'm not tightening the screw too hard yet. Just make sure that we have the right length. This is the screws here. So, like I said, don't tighten it, don't over tighten it yet, just yet. We'll do that after we've actually connected both. Here we go. So that looks, so they start to come together. So now the tail beam is secured. The beam support are secured. They are not fully too tight yet, and that's fine. I will reinforce the tightness. Here's the tail assembly. Like I said, these Walkera did a smart, I think it's smart to make these a plug-and play type of connector with the tail motor. So I guess when you purchase the tail motor, it's already come with these connectors, and you basically, it's got a couple of screws in here that secure the motor. It's very easy to put together. The part that I found very tough to put together is if you ever break this blade, which in one of my crashes I broke it once, and you have to replace them. The screw, there's a little tiny screw here that sort of secured the tail blade rod here from coming back out. So that screw is an hexagonal kind of screw, but it's so small that even my I think the smallest one I have, the smallest hexagon tool that I have here is 1.5. This one looks like it would be like a 0.5, and I couldn't find any. So I had to use a flathead, really small, the kind of screwdriver you use for your glasses, flat end, and I just kind of use that to tighten as much as I can. And I'm sure I probably stripped some parts of it because I didn't have the right tool. But it held up and even sustained. It was only once I've ever had to replace that, and it sustained all crashes and it never came off. So what we do is we put the cap, this is a separate piece, we're gonna slide these guys, this wiring. The wiring for the tail boom. Let's move these out of the way. They go through. There is the bottom hole here where the tail beam goes through. So the wiring here goes through that first. Oh, excuse me, sorry. We gotta put these in first. So you're gonna slide the two cables from the motor, tail motor. You're gonna slide that through first. It's kind of like a little. I might have to go in one at a time. That hole is kind of a tight spot. But you know what? I think what I'll do is first I slide this guy through them. Slide that down through there. And it goes its face down. And then you slide those cables through that hole, the bottom hole where the tail beam fits through. We're not gonna cover this here because we need to see what the. I'm gonna slide that and push this far back. Slide this through that hole right there and push it as far as it can go. So back here we have our cable sticking out, which is fine. So we're gonna kind of turn that in. You can't go wrong on the color here. There's a second hole next to the motor here that you're gonna slide. You're gonna do one at a time. This is kind of a little clumsy here. Maybe it's better to. I'm gonna feed more of it here first. I'm gonna detach it from here. I'm gonna detach it from there, and we're gonna try to feed as much as possible, long enough to allow us room. And you gotta be careful when you pull this through because the tail beam edges are kind of sharp, and you don't want to stripping that tail wire. I mean, you don't want to stripping this wire. Kind of have to kind of direct it in such a way that it doesn't get wedged on the edges of the tail boom. So when you're pulling, it's not stripping the wire and expose the wire, which could cause a short. So that's enough length. So we have quite a bit of length here. So now that allows me to push that through that second hole. The second hole right on the top piece, right part of the tail, right here. Kind of slide that in. You see the red, and we make that connection. That's good. And we're gonna slide the second one through. You want to slide this one at a time. You pull that out. And you make that black to black connection. So now we're gonna kind of slide them back out again and tuck them into that hole where you fed them through. So be careful so you don't pull it back out completely again. So the excess will go back up in the front. But for now, we're going to slide these to cover it. slide it right there to cover it. So this is kind of rotate. Seems like backwards right now, but it's okay. I'm gonna have to just make sure that it's kind of stuck in that hole. Right now the tail is pointing up, but we're gonna turn in the right direction. Right now I just need to see the hole. Push that back in there nicely. Because if not, it will be in contact with the gear. You don't want that, and that will prevent the gear from performing its function. So that's there. The motor gets a lot of, okay, where we are. You can kind of pull it back out this way now. Again, making sure that it's not being stripped. You just want to pull the SS back out. And pulling the SS back out carefully. You don't really want excess of the cable. You don't want excess of the cable here in the tail. So I go here using my screwdriver, kind of pull that excess back. And back here, you see, it's kind of force that excess in because it has to leave room. You don't want it, like I said, in contact with that gear. Okay, so we're gonna turn it the right way. Let's make sure that this cable has to make sure that it's not. I have to pull some of the excess back. Okay. So let's take a look at what they look like now. It seems far away enough from the gear, from the tail gear. Let's see if we can pull more SS to the front. Here we go. So we pull as much as possible, which allow the cable to reach the front. So now we need to make sure this is straightened. You can just look at the let's adjust this camera a little bit.